So we're still in part design mode. We just made our 2 blocks and we have the green over the top of the yellow. We need to move this around. In order to move this around, you do that, well, with this little compass thing down here that we've never played with before. But as usual, there's warnings that go with everything. You need to remember and know what workbench you're in. We're currently in the part design workbench right down here, or the tool set you see is for part design. If I want to move something around, I want to do that in assembly mode. Probably, generally, most of the time, usually. Okay? There are times you can do this. It will let you, but it's not correct. So if I were to put this on here and try to move it, it could let me do this, but this move operation is a translate. That's an operation inside of this part. So kind of think about that for a second. The move operation is in the part. I wanted to move the part in the assembly. So it's not doing what we wanted it to do. So I'm going to undo that. It goes away. Make sure that's gone. And this little compass guy is stuck out there. We're going to play with that more in just a second. If you want it to go back home, you just grab it and just drop it in the air. Bring it over here, boop, and it just goes over there. Okay. So in order to do this properly, I need to get into the assembly. So that's up here on Block Lab. Double click on that and I get back into assembly or product mode. And then I can put this compass on here. I just stick it to the part and you kind of got to make sure you know which part it's on. It looks like it's correct because it's right on that face. And then you can grab one of the arrows and you can slide it around. And now I don't get that translate down here like I did before. Okay. And then again, when we're done, you can grab this and drag it away. Okay. The other thing you can do in or in 3D Experience that you couldn't do in V5 is I can click on this and it says, did you want to make a constraint? This is a thing we're going to do in a moment, a different kind of constraint. Or, hey, would you like to do something with that compass thing? So it's that common that they put it as one of 3 icons that you probably would want to do with this thing if you clicked on it. So you pick on it and poof, there it is. Now I can move this up and down and around. Okay. All right. So my mission, though, is not to just sort of set this right on the top. So I'm going to hit this down here, hit the check mark to say it's okay to leave it there. Concepts. This thing happens to be very much the same size and right smack on top, directly on top of this one. If I were to look down right on it, it's not off to the left or to the right or wherever, right? It's right on the top. So what I was just doing with the compass, it could look very correct that I snapped this to this and I just brought it right down and you say, there you go, they're now assembled. But it's not. No matter how close you get it, you're either going to have a gap or you're going to be overlapping. It's not going to be mathematically, digitally, if you want to think of it that way, perfect. Also, even though this corner, let's say that this line from this corner and this corner are perfectly, it seems so, lined up right now, they have not been told to be there. So this is another big topic to understand. Let me close this down. It's a thing called degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom. So how many different ways could this thing move relative to the other one or in space? And right now it can move all over the place. And what I mean by that is this. I can go here, I can pick this here, and like I said, I can move it up and down. I could also move it side to side. I could also grab this and I could rotate it. I could move it around like this. I could grab that one here and I could rotate it this way. So it's not locked at all. It's not locked at all. So that thing, that place that it just was right there at that moment was just convenience. It wasn't locked. Understand that. That's very, very important. So important that we actually have a section here under object that's called component degrees of freedom. And if you click on it, it says that you have 6 degrees of freedom, which is 3 rotations and 3 translations. Okay. We'll look at this as we go by. This is like a measuring tool. This is a way to make sure that I know that something is secured, right? Locked down properly. Remember in Sketcher, when you go into Sketcher and after it's fully constrained or otherwise known as ISO constrained, remember that it turns all green or it turns some different color to show you that it's all locked. The degrees of freedom and paying attention to that here, it's the same idea, okay? So that's what we have to do. We have to lock this thing up. And I'm going to do this in a couple different exercises throughout the course where we have it all really nice. And it's like, oh, geez, it's so close. I could just leave right there. Nope. I'm going to have you bend it around just like this so that it's crooked all over the place. So you don't trust in the one that, you know, it looks like it's lined up, but you forgot that you're actually supposed to constrain it, right? I want you to see that what you do actually locks it in place, okay? So I'm going to end this one now because it's already a little bit too long, and then we'll come back and we'll get to sticking this together.